I keep stumbling over when people ask, so what does mommy Nia like to do? Or what does Nia like to do? And I'm sitting there really trying hard to think like, oh, well, what do I enjoy? What do I like to get into? If you can relate, let's just get right into the episode. Let's talk about it. As always, I'm going to thank you for tuning into the Mommy and Then Some podcast. I'm your host, Nia, a stay-at-home mom of 2, and I'm building a community of women, mothers that want to share their ups and downs and experiences through it all. Womanhood, motherhood, let's just talk about it. I know definitely we can like relate to other women and make sure to have that feeling that we're not alone and we can keep going through this. Also, I'm a mom that's going through her, let's just call it her phase of trying to figure out what I like again. You know, like I had a podcast episode before, tap into it if you haven't heard it, but I talk about where I lost myself. And, you know, like I said, I go through the reasons. So just check that episode to see like my reasons of why I felt like that, so on and so forth. But now I'm actually in the heat of feeling like, wow, like it's really time to put some action for real behind finding out what I like as outside of being a mom. You know what I'm saying? Like I just what do I do? What do I do outside of being a mama? And when people like, I had one of my girlfriends come down, one of my good sisters come down from Ohio, shout out. But she basically asked like, so what does Nia like to do? And I'm like, oh, well, I like to, create content and, because I don't really do much else. And it's like, for what? Why? What is the purpose of that? When people ask like, what do you enjoy? What do you like to get to? Most people just be like, okay, boom, I do this, I get into this, and a lot of times moms just be like, oh, well, I get into taking the kids to the park, or, setting up play dates. Girl, I know that is not something that you want to do all day, every day. It's not. I know. So we got to figure out, you know what I'm saying, what we like to do for us that we can hold dear for us and just have for us, not our spouses, not our children. Now, I was scrolling on social media the other day, and it's so funny because this topic I feel like has been coming up a lot, where it's just that push and pull effect, where a lot of mothers may feel like they didn't get that chance or that time to put in for themselves. So now that it's being real, is like there's no way for them to avoid it. They're coming face head on with it about realizing what they like. It's just becoming more and more, of a topic lately, is basically what I'm trying to say. And I was scrolling on social media. This one mom creator, she and her husband has a podcast. Her name is Annalie. Y'all might have heard of her. But her husband, they were talking, and it said like the POV that she put over the video was basically like, oh, well, finding time for hobbies or finding hobbies as a mom. And I just want y'all to listen to this real quick, because listen, when I tell y'all this hit home, and I was just sitting there like, oh, like, okay, just listen.
Identity. It's like who.
Okay,
what are my? That's what I'm saying. When it goes back to identity, it's like who. What are my passions? What are my hobbies? I don't know. I don't have any hobbies. I just think it's important for kids to see that mom has dreams or passions or hobbies, whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
That they can grow up being like, oh, like, mom had friends, and that was important for her to go do her alone time so that she can recharge, and then I can come back and then I'm a better mom because I'm getting that fun break time away too. Yeah. So it's like a win-win.
All supportive. Well, they would not be impressed watching beer league softball. Like, wow, this is what dad does when he goes on Tuesdays.
Yeah, I know that it's on me because I know that you would support me. Like, you gotta go just let loose at softball. It's like, I don't.
You're sad now.
I am sad now.
Why are you sad?
I know that I'm the reason I haven't done that yet,
Want me to sign you up?
Yeah.
Okay. You're a good mom, and you deserve to have your own time and your own space and define your hobbies that make you happy. And I will always support you, and I'll even help you find something. We can look together.
That's what I'm saying. When it goes back to identity, it's like...
Y'all, first of all, Mama, first of all, listen. It's a couple things that she actually said through this video. The first thing I want to touch on is how she says she know it's her fault. So number one, you hear how her husband is supportive, and a lot of times our spouses do be supportive, talking about, oh, go and do what you want to do. Go, I got the kids, da da da. And sometimes we just fight it. Again, I've talked about some of it may be a little bit of mom guilt. I'm not gonna go deep into that right now because my mindset now is okay. Bump that mom guilt. Do what you gotta do, cause like how long you gonna keep letting mom guilt, play into it? So she said number one that it's her fault that she hasn't done it because she has the support. She has the resources. She can do what she want to do, but she's not doing it. And that hit me dead in the face because it was like, wow, she is so right. Like, that is so true. A lot of the times we hold ourselves back. Even if we have low support, even if whatever the case may be, a lot of the times we cannot keep pointing fingers because what they say, you point a finger, is always 3 pointing back at you. Reevaluate self and see what you need to do in order to move forward and progress in life. Now, along with that, she mentioned like it was another video that I seen or heard on social media, but it's true where they say, what's the most important thing for a child growing up in a home? It's not that the parents are together. Of course, that plays a role. It's not that dad is in their life, so on and so forth. It's that mom is happy, genuinely happy though. When you have things to like go to and like fill yourself with and pour into yourself, tell me you're gonna sit here and tell me that you're not gonna be genuinely happy, and the kids are gonna see that. So like she said, they'll be able to say like, oh, mom enjoyed this, or mom did that, mom had these hobbies, and they can genuinely see that mom was happy. I feel like it's kind of it goes a little bit deeper into it too, because at the end of the day, when you sitting down constantly worried about what your kids got going on and you cannot pour into yourself, I feel like kids kind of pick up on that. Kids know that mom's always gonna be like, oh, what you doing, baby? Or, oh, I gotta make sure. Kids know that. And I'm not saying don't be like that, because as women, mothers, that's how we are. We're nurturers, we're caregivers. That's just naturally what we do. But when kids see that's kind of all you kind of focus your time on, I feel like number one, they can grow up thinking that all the time, where it's like, okay, mom is always going to be there. Again, I'm not trying to discredit any relationship between a mom and her child, but sometimes it could just create that, let's just call it a crutch sometimes, again, where they just feel like, oh, the world revolves around me. So as the kids, like she said, as the kid gets older, they can see like, oh, bet mom going to go do her time, and then maybe that can like be instilled or engraved in them as they get older. Like, well, I know that I need to make sure that I have hobbies, I have things that I do for myself to make me happy. I can't just keep worrying about somebody else, no matter who that is. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, moms, that's just what we do. That's what we cling on to. And I don't know, like, it was just so many things in this video that was just like, dang. You know what I'm saying? Being genuinely happy when you pour into your own cup, when you're doing things that don't have nothing to do with hearing mommy 500 times, hearing bae, hearing whatever, you can be genuinely happy. Like, I don't know how else to harp on that to make you understand, like, you need to get your time. And listen, mama, I'm not only talking to you, I'm talking to myself as well. Like, we have to stop playing. We got to stop playing around. Another thing, okay, let me slow down, because I want to go back to the happy part, because another thing that I want to say is that a lot of us moms, or I know a lot of moms that may mask. And when I say mask, they're literally like, okay, I don't want to show my child that I'm sad. So around them, I'm going to put this smile on. I'm going to be, oh, that's great, baby. But deep down inside, you hurting and you trying to just figure it all out. That's masking. And if it's not good to mask in any other area in your life, why do you think that's okay to do it in front of your children? Because you wouldn't like it if your child masked in front of you, right? You wouldn't, if you know, which a lot of parents do know, especially as they get older, when they're sad about something, when they're trying to suppress something, we kind of want to egg them to push, not push them to where they're uncomfortable or where they're not ready to tell us something at that moment. But we're kind of like, you sure you can tell me anything? Basically, you can see through that pain for real. Kids are not stupid. Kids are not dumb. They're not. So why would you feel it appropriate to mask? We got to stop masking. Period. Go be genuinely happy, period. And then another thing is, like I said, I've said this a lot of times in my content and in other podcasts. At the end of the day, this is no shame to the dads. One thing that I actually respect, and one thing that I really love about men in a way is that they gonna do what they gonna do. So like if you heard in that clip, it was like she had said, you have your thing, you go do beer league softball or whatever he does, and yeah, it's kind of like a non-negotiable, right? It's kind of like, hey babe, this is what I'm going to go do, and yeah. So why can't it be the same for us? Am I saying disrupt the household, cause it? You have to make sure it fits into what your lifestyle is, of course, and you don't want to cause any arguments or anything. But at the end of the day, men gonna get their time one way or another. So us women have to do the same. Them dishes, them children, them the laundry, the cooking, whatever it is, it definitely is going to be. It's gonna be there. So focus on you for a moment, Just focus on you for a moment. Another thing that I actually want to touch on within this, of course, you like to get other people's perspectives and see what other people think. So, of course, I was going through the comments, and Mama, let me show you. Let me just share 3 comments that stood out to me. One of them was, I found my hobbies when my kids were more independent. It was so hard when they were young. Now they are 7 and 4, and they comment on stuff that they know I love. So I agree with this, again, because when kids are young, my children are 17 months and almost 4. So they have a high demand for stuff. But again, just like they say with anything else, train them up for young. You know what I'm saying? Like train them up from young where they know, okay, look, this is independent time. Mommy got this going on. And right now it needs to wait. If it's not an emergency, if your leg ain't broke, dude, this is mommy's time. But I can agree with the fact that it's much harder when the kids are young, but that doesn't mean they may have to stop. One thing that I've been realizing and learning lately is that you may have a plan or a goal or something that you like or whatever, and it doesn't mean it has to stop when life changes, because life is always changing. Life is always going to change. But that means you could just revise your plan just a little bit, you can revise it. So another comment that I found was very interesting. It said, God damn it, this hit home big time. My kids deserve to have a mom whose hobbies are more than the things she does for them. Clearly, like, what does that even sound like? If I'm talking about, how, my hobbies are taking the kids to the park and all, that's not your hobby. That's not something, don't get me wrong. Yes, I'm pretty sure you enjoy spending time with your children, but that's not something that you're like, yeah, that's what I like to do. And I'm a connoisseur for finding new part. Like, what does mom like to do outside of her children? So I just thought some of these comments were interesting. It was another comment that said, I had to wait until my younger child was about 7 before I had enough free time for cultivative hobbies again. Like, I mean, dude, a lot of parents or a lot of moms are saying like, when my kids were young, I really couldn't do nothing. And I definitely feel that. But again, we can't get stuck in the moment. So all in all, I said all that to say, find your ass a hobby. I need to find my ass a hobby. Let's work together, mama. Let's do this together to find us something to do other than just being like, oh, we got to take care of these kids. Now, talking to a lot of friends and family, like I said, if you have a supportive spouse, you can only keep hearing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. So I had to start really do a little bit of self-reflection, going down some rabbit holes. And a lot of the times I do like to be like, oh, well, I just want to, when I get some free time, I like to spend more time with my family or whatever. I will add in there here and there, like times where I'm like, oh, I want to get some free time in for myself, but it's not a lot. And I had to think like, well, why do I keep letting that be at the forefront of my mind? Because there's no hard feelings. This is just who my spouse is. And I've explained this before. He is a lone wolf. He's a person that could be like, I'd rather go do some alone time, which is, hey, but because of who I am naturally, I just be like, I want to spend some time with my family. I don't necessarily need a lot of alone time. Now I had to ask myself why, because at times, like I've expressed this before in another podcast episode, where I get tapped out and frustrated and wait till the last minute to be like, oh, I need to give me some me time. Why do I do that? And I had to think about it. Like, number one, I'm an only child. So I didn't grow up with siblings. I grew up with a lot of my cousins, I call we can call them my sisters, but clearly that's still not like my relative in-house living in home with them every single day. I was around my family a lot. So there were times when I was younger where once I was done being around my family, I just naturally had that alone time, and I felt like, okay, that was cool. I was invested in myself. I figured I knew what I liked to do. I knew what I didn't like to do. I just had that time alone. And I feel like, just like they say with anything else, when you grow up, how you grew up affects your adulthood. And I feel like that's kind of what's going on with me now, where a little bit of me just is my comfort to be around people, to be around family. And then why wouldn't I want to be around the family that I built, right? But nowadays it's definitely more important to spend that time alone when you start having a family, you know, like more than ever now is when I need the alone time. But I think I just go back to my comfort. I was telling my spouse before, sometimes, mama, like, sometimes I feel like the silence is too loud, if that makes sense. Again, that's another rabbit hole, or try to figure out why do I feel like the silence is too loud at times. But again, I feel like that's deep rooted into who I am, how I grew up. I'm just around people. When I went to go do stuff, we did it kind of like as a big family. I was just around my family. That's what I know. That's what I love. That's my comfort zone. So having my alone time, doing things on my own, is kind of out of my comfort zone, and it feels a little weird. So like I said, at the end of the day, I'm trying to figure it out just the same way you are. We got some homework to do, mama. We got some homework to do to try to figure out what we got to do. Number one, I guess the first step is to try to figure out what you even like to do. Don't even say you don't know what you like to do anymore. What did you like to do before kids? What did you like to do when your kids were first born and the things kind of like fizzled out? Again, I know that life may look different now that you have kids in the family, but how can you change that and still incorporate the things that you like? Or how can we start to try to figure out new ways to incorporate some new things that we may like? So my good sis Amber, she gave me some homework, and I'm not even gonna say just her, but you know, we had a long talk the other day, and it was basically just about how I need to start writing and jotting some stuff down, you know, and put some action behind it. Let me just talk about it. So me and my mom have this thing sometimes where we'll say this is day one of the rest of my life. And it's funny, but it's not funny because you can always start over. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can always start fresh, start anew. You can change your plans. So I wrote that at the top of my paper. But the first thing was to jot down all the things that I like to do. And I was able to get to 15 things that I like to do or that I like. And honestly, it's simple stuff on here. I got working out on here. I got watching shows. I even have sleep. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to make sure that I find a way to incorporate these things in my life during my mommy time. It's like, why would you even need to have, just simply put it, you think about certain things that you put on the list that you like to do or that you like, as far as, again, like watching shows or working out or even sleeping, and think that those are simple things. But for a mom that's making up plenty of excuses, and I'm just call it as it is, when you're making up excuses as to why you can't get those things done, don't get me wrong, sleep, yes. Can we sleep all day? Especially if we are stay-at-home moms, especially if we go out and work. So that means no matter who we are, a lot of us are busy nowadays. Where are we going to get sleep in? But sometimes, some mommy days, I probably will take my time to be like, okay, look, I'm about to take a nap for my mommy time. I want to catch up on rest because I'm tired. I maybe just need to reset and rejuvenate. I like to work out. Okay, well, yeah, I don't have a sitter. But that does not mean I got dumbbells in the house. I have exercise bands. I have internet. I have a TV. I have different things that I can sit there and try to be like, okay, maybe to start off going back into it, I could do a 10-minute, 15-minute workout in the morning before the kids get up. Maybe on certain days. Will certain days, be better than others? Every day probably won't be feasible. But you never know. Like, these are certain things, again, that I'm making excuses as to whatever I'm trying to make an excuse for, and it's not cool. Working out actually makes me feel really, really good. Clearly, working out makes anybody feels good. It's good for the body, but I listen to music while I work out, which that's another thing that I love. And I feel like I could just release. I really do feel like I let off stress when I work out. So why is that not something that I'm using to help me get through my motherhood, my womanhood journey? Watching TV. Again, we're busy. So yeah, trying to sit back and binge watch for hours and hours on end throughout the day may not be reasonable. But like my good sis Amber was telling me, like, maybe some days, maybe on my mommy day on Sundays, I can't catch up or binge whatever, how many hours that I'm going to on my show. And that'll be that time that I use for that. Period. Tap into the things that you like and try to make it work for your lifestyle. So I feel really good writing out my list of things that I like to do or that I just like in general. For instance, I love shoes. That's another thing. Now, do I really have like the money to be splurging on shoes and all that for right? No, but that could be a goal of mine. That could be something where I may try to look at some bargains and find out, oh, these shoes is fire. I'm about to get these shoes on sale for whatever, and stop getting out of it. Like before, I also had that mentality where like, well, yeah, I'm at the park with the kids, or I'm doing things where I'm not about to wear these cute shoes and get them messed up. Girl, please, if you like shoes, wear the shoes. Like, what is the problem? If it makes you feel good, do it. Try to work it into your life the best way that you can. So that was one thing. So I would say, again, our homework is to first write out things that we like to do, things that we like. I like the color orange. I was about to switch up the aura in the podcast scene today, y'all. I was about to have it orange in here because that's what I like. My phone is even orange. Maybe looking for orange decorations or orange things that, just things that make me feel good. I don't know. We got to start somewhere though. Just simple little stuff like that. You'll be amazed how much it can change, right? And then the next thing, I've been wondering, like, kind of just wondering about the things that I'm good at, because sometimes when you first of all don't even know what you like to do, you start to, like, how do I put this? You start to kind of, I don't want to say second guess yourself, but you start to feel like down in the dumps. You start to feel like, kind of like, what am I worthy of? What do I even have to offer other than just being a mom? All that type of stuff. And me being in the content creation world, there are ways, and let me say this, and with me being a stay-at-home mom, there are ways that I'm trying to monetize and let's just call it make money, make a living, create wealth, do things for my family that I see fit. And I'm saying all this to say is that I started to wonder, like, well, what am I even good at? Because I don't feel like I'm good at nothing. Like, first of all, I don't even know what I like to do no more. Because those types of things can tap into different ways that you can start to earn an income, especially if you want to become a mompreneur, whatever the case may be. You got to start with the things that you enjoy. Don't just hop into something because you see the next mama doing it and you're like, oh, well, she talking about she making bank, or what you see another mom enjoying, she probably really enjoys that. So I got a list of 6 things that I feel like that I'm good at, that I can basically turn into something for myself. And these are the conversations that you have to have with yourself, mama, to say, like, I need to start somewhere to really get my identity back. When you talk about identity or what we can do, things be like outside of motherhood, this is kind of where it starts for real. And then the last thing is my personal bucket list. So Amber gave me this thing to try where it's like, I want to try new things. She asked, well, what are some things that you want to try? And I'm like, like, I didn't really even have that on my list either. And right now, because my list is small, I'm not going to, go on this whole tangent. But I told her one thing is that I wanted to do press on nails. I've really never done press on nails. I've gotten acrylic one time in my life. And I also have gotten like a fill-in from that acrylic set, and then ever since then I haven't. I've done gel or shellac, as some people call it, at the shop, but I've never really gotten my own press on nails, whether that be custom made press on nails, whether that be in the store press on nails. I've never really done that. So a lot of the times I used to like to polish my own nails, and there's nothing wrong with that, but because my hands are constantly in water because I'm dealing with kids all day, I just would hate for my nails to get like polished and then the paint start chipping away. And then I'm the type of female that don't be like taking my polish off right away. Don't judge me, judge your mama. But like, so yeah, I want to try some actual press on nails or whatever. And I told her, like, I got a little box of press on nails that's been sitting in my, like my little closet for like, I can't even tell you. That's how long I done had them. Why haven't I put on the press-on nails? But because I'm making excuses about, oh, well, if I got to do my son's hair and he has locks. So I'm like, if I'm retwisting his hair and that gel, that product get under my nails. Or if I'm doing my hair and, oh, the product get under my nails and it's just going to be popping right off. Well, at least you would have put the nails on. That's something you enjoyed. That's something that happened for a little while that you felt good about, that you like to do, that you enjoyed until they start popping off. She like, girl, put them nails on until they pop off. You know what I'm saying? So that's something new that I want to try. That's on my bucket list. And then another thing, y'all, again, I was so excited. I bought this popcorn maker from Aldi. Let's just call it, I really want to say maybe over a year ago now. Have not cracked it open. Ain't did nothing with that popcorn maker. And I love popcorn. Why haven't I, and I even think the bag of popcorn kernels that I got to put in it, those probably expired by now. Or past the sell by date. What is the problem? Why are you just not doing simple things? But it's so funny because, again, going back to that whole worrying about everybody else but yourself, I really kind of felt like, dag, well, my son can't even eat popcorn at this point. It would be nice, to make popcorn with the kids and he could enjoy it. Well, my kids are not eating popcorn. Like I said, my son is almost 4 and my daughter darn sure ain't getting no popcorn. So they're too young. But why can't I take that and enjoy maybe some popcorn, a bowl of popcorn on my mommy day, go watch a show, or even, no, I was even still about to go to my spouse. Like, oh, one night we can pop some popcorn and watch some. No, why don't I enjoy that for myself? You know what I'm saying? It's just that natural thing to be like, boom, we just worried about everybody else. So those are 2 things on my bucket list. Put on the press-on nails and use my popcorn machine, because what? Why? Those are simple things for real, if you think about it. And those are my simple things. What are your simple things, mama? We got to figure out, let's start with the first thing we're going to start with. Try to figure out what you like, what you enjoy, or even let's call it what you love to do, or just things that make you happy in general. That's it. That's our first homework assignment, is to figure out what you like to do. Jot it down. Even if you were in your teens and you like to jump rope, I don't know. Put it on a piece of paper, because you can't say, oh, well, I was 15. And that was when I was 15. I like to jump rope. Have you tried to jump rope now? You don't know what you like to do now. And don't create an excuse for yourself. How about you jot it down and try it and see, okay, give it a few tries to see, yeah, maybe I like it, maybe I don't, and get back into it, period. Our kids got to see us happy. We got to see us happy. Our spouses got to see, at the end of the day, we have to see us happy in order for anybody else to view us as happy, for real. We got to. So that's our first homework assignment. We can do this together. Please tap in as always. Thank you so much for listening in. I am over on Spotify. I am over on Apple Podcasts. I do a video podcast on YouTube. If you're on those platforms, make sure to follow, subscribe, share with other mamas that you know can benefit from this. Mama, I want you to know that you are not alone, for real. Please understand that I'm not taking it lightly. My DMs are always open. My email is always open. You can email me at beyond, BEYOND, Mats, MATS 2021 at gmail.com. Listen, that's an abbreviated email. I know it sounds kind of weird. It's supposed to be Beyond Mommy and Then Some, but I was not about to create that whole long email. But anyway, I'm just saying that to say I'm here. Reach out to me. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it with other women. Let's do this together. My DMs, my channels of communication are always open. As always, thank you so much. Mama, please understand that you are not alone, that you are loved, understood, and heard. See you in the next episode.